welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Dani and this is Coffee Break with Dani, where every so often I ask you guys to share with me some of your secret confessions, secrets, anonymous rants, ask me a question on Instagram, and I share it here on YouTube in my Dear Dani series. So basically, this is like a confessional, a question column, somewhere where you're chatting with your girlfriends. This is the 6th episode of Dear Dani. We started it in 2020. It seems like a lifetime ago, and you guys seem to enjoy it, so I thought we would do it again today. Now, a brief disclaimer: I am not a licensed professional. All of the advice, all of the responses, all of my contribution comes from experience. That's it. If I can't relate to it, I really don't feel good giving you guys advice. So as an advice columnist, I can just do it based on what's relative to me or what I've been through or from my life experience. So I know that tends to rub people the wrong way sometimes, where it's like, you just want to talk about yourself. But honestly, I don't think you can give advice if you haven't been through something similar yourself. You can't really help or contribute if you don't have experience in the subject, you know? Especially since I'm not a licensed professional. And I've told you guys before, I am the friend that gives amazing advice, but never takes it. Before we get into it, I do want to say thank you to June Shine for sponsoring this video. Let's be honest for a second, rather for the next hour that you're here with me, but let's be honest. Hard seltzers are everywhere you look, everywhere you turn, every ice chest, every cooler, even restaurants serve them now. And hard seltzers for me, albeit they're good, but they make me feel very burpy, very bloated, and I'm not always in the mood for vodka. So today we're going to talk about June Shine, which is a hard kombucha. June Shine is one of my favorite brands to talk about because not only is the product super delicious, but this is more of like a better for you alcohol. It's made with green tea and honey, not like typical kombuchas. And I think when you hear the word kombucha, you think like vinegar, right? Like if you go to like a health food shop or a grocery store and you're like, let me get some kombucha, you're like, Meh. Don't think about that. This is not even like that. It's not even close. It is absolutely delicious. The best way that I could describe kombucha, if you were saying, well, like, who is this for? This is for anyone that enjoys alcohol. But it's actually better for you alcohol. I don't know if you live a more active lifestyle or if you're very cognizant of how much sugar is in the products that you consume, or if you're more of like a sustainable living type of person. It's kind of a brand that really is just a kind brand. Not only is the product delicious, and like I said, it's made with green tea and honey as opposed to black tea and sugar. So it's made with green tea and honey. The brand is a sustainably produced brand, which is really, really nice. They give back. They're a philanthropic brand. If you're worried about price, I mean, the price point per can comes at about $2.49, which is unheard of when it comes to any product that comes in a can. You can have 1 to 2 a day guilt-free. All of the kombucha is made with real organic products. They are gluten-free. They are low in sugar. You know what the best part is though? The best part is that it's naturally refreshing. Also, this is your cue for you guys to go get your favorite beverage, because this video is gonna be very entertaining. I haven't filmed it yet, but I'm pretty sure it will be. So the best part is that it's ridiculously refreshing. This is actually my favorite flavor that I'm showing you here. It's called the Midnight Painkiller. So it's ridiculously refreshing, but you know what? I mean, these days, when you're drinking a beverage, I'm starting to become more self-aware in my almost 40 years of age that when it comes to a beverage, I don't want to be burpy. I don't want to feel sluggish. I don't want to feel bloated. Y'all, I am absolutely 100% not okay with ever feeling or looking bloated. It morally offends me. So when you can find a beverage that is better for you alcohol, so you can still relax, let loose, enjoy, have a good time, poolside with your friends, with your girlfriends, or whatever, and not feel crappy afterwards, that's a plus for me. So I want to show you guys my 2 favorite flavors. I just showed you Midnight Painkiller, which is super refreshing. It doesn't taste sweet at all. So if you're not a big sweet person, this is probably the one that you would enjoy because there's absolutely no sweetness to it. It's just Very, very refreshing. The main flavors in this one are coconut pineapple. It also says orange and nutmeg on here, and I would say I don't get a lot of nutmeg. I definitely get the pineapple and orange in this one. And then my second favorite is the honey ginger lemon. You gotta love ginger to like this one. It tastes exactly like honey ginger lemon. So I'm a big fan of honey and I'm a big fan of ginger. I would put ginger on everything if my kids weren't offended by it, but look at how pretty this one is. Look at that. The colors match. Isn't that cute? I'm gonna have a sip of this one. Do you guys ever order 2 drinks at a time and then just enjoy them simultaneously because you can't really decide? Yeah, I do sometimes too. So you guys have heard me talk about Juneshine before, and if you haven't gotten bitten by the bug, get bitten by the Juneshine bug today because summer is here and this is a super refreshing beverage that isn't gonna ruin the rest of your day. Have you guys ever started like during summer, you start early on and you're like, yeah, we're grilling in the backyard, it's late morning, you have maybe a beer or 2 or a spiked seltzer, and then come lunchtime, you're done. Like you're done, you're tired, you're bloated, you're burpy, you feel gross, your day is ruined. Don't worry, Juneshine won't ruin your day. So if you guys are curious about Juneshine, let me show you what you could get delivered to your doorstep. This is the variety pack. So you get the 4 best-selling flavors for 20% off and free shipping. You guys, look how muscular I look carrying these cans up and down. So if you guys are fans of kombucha, if you guys are more of an active lifestyle and you're careful of the kinds of beverages you drink, or you're simply curious like me and you love to try new things, I will have a link in the description box below where you could get this massive variety pack for 20% off and free shipping. Keep in mind that these are already at a very, very, listen, I gotta talk to Juneshine because I'm like, really, $2.49 per can? Like, is that a good business idea? Because it's kind of a good price. Like, get it before they raise their price, you know? Anyway, so we're gonna move forward with our Dear Dani or Girl Chat episode 6, and I'm gonna simultaneously enjoy my 2 favorite flavors of Juneshine, the honey ginger lemon and the midnight painkiller. Like, who does this? I'm probably embarrassing my parents right now, but that's okay, you know, I'm still their favorite. Anyway, so we're gonna get started, but if you guys were on the fence, all the information will be listed down below. You guys, 20% off, free shipping nationwide in a box. You guys, it comes in a modest packaging. It's not labeled, it's discreet. I feel like I'm promoting a different kind of product. Let's get into it, shall we? So we're gonna jump into these questions that you guys asked me, I would say a little bit less than a week ago. So if you guys don't remember, I posted this on my Instagram and I was like, y'all chime in, ask me a question, and I'm gonna see what you guys asked. There's so many. All right, you guys, I'm nervous. Advice for moving, about to move to a bigger city and I'm pretty nervous. I need a lot more context with this question because, for example, I never moved away for college. I left my parents' home right before I got married. So I was 24 years old and I had never lived apart, never lived away. I've never actually lived alone because I moved in with my first husband and then we got divorced and then I lived with my kids when I was single, and that, you know what I mean? So I've never been alone, but I think the excitement of a new city can be it could be a tightrope between scary and exciting. So I was miserable for the first year because I was in a very negative place. I didn't want to move. I didn't have any friends. I didn't have any family. I was pregnant. And so I let myself get to a very toxic place with it. And I think about it now. And if I was given the opportunity again, I would have done things so differently. I would have looked into, you know, new restaurants in my neighborhood, or like a pregnant moms or first time moms club or meetup. I would have looked into maybe like a local gym or class around my neighborhood. I would have remembered the things that I enjoyed doing in the city that I lived in before moving, and then try to bring that into my life in the new city so that there was a little bit of comfort and familiarity, but then also trying things that are new to the place I moved to. So, you know, if it's Chicago, is it sports, or is it their food? They're known for their food. If it's a place like, I don't know, Washington or Oregon, you know, beautiful landscaping and parks and outdoor activities. So do a little research of what you could bring to your life that reminds you of home, but then also venture out to what that city's known for and get a little taste of it, because this new city might feel like home, or home that you didn't realize was a home-like feeling. That happened to me here in Texas. After I let myself be miserable for a year and be yucky and, you know, all the life changes that I went through, I realized I love it here. And when I was about to get divorced, everyone was like, "You're moving back to California? You're moving back to California?" And I was like, I would never. And so it's a really beautiful feeling to know where you came from, but feel at home in the new city you're in. So don't do what I did. Don't let yourself get to a toxic, sad, miserable place. Go in with an open mind, because I think it's a lot easier for a plant to bloom in sunshine than in darkness. And so don't rob yourself of the opportunity to have great potential in a new place. Cheers to that, friend. That was a great question. How long did you wait to meet Parker's kids and vice versa? That is a very personal question, and in the most polite way of saying, I don't think that's anybody's business. And I don't think it's anybody's business because there's so many factors involved in when it's okay to meet someone's children. Legally, personally, emotionally, morally, there are so many hoops that you have to go through. For example, my divorce decree stipulates when it's okay for me to move in with a partner. So legally, I'm obligated to follow the rules in my divorce decree that say when I decide to move in with someone, I have to let my co-parent know. I've heard of other divorce decrees or agreements with co-parents that say you can't introduce the kids without asking the other parent first. You can't marry someone else without asking the other parent first. And so there's a lot of third party situations involved. I think when you know, you know. I think everyone's comfort level is different. I think we make up stupid rules in our head that make no sense. Like, I have to wait at least 6 months. It's like, yeah, well, you could meet someone and in 30 minutes feel a greater connection with that person than you felt with 10 years with another person. It's different with every situation, with every child, with every partner, with every relationship, that me telling you how long Parker waited or how long I waited really wouldn't help you. So you have to really factor in all the other parts to decide what is comfortable for you. Do I think on your first date is safe? No. Do I think on your third date is safe? No. Do I think in a month? I don't know. You know, it's a very gray area. It's not black and white. So you really have to decide for yourself what is acceptable. So I hope that helps a little bit. How do I patiently wait for my boyfriend of 4 years to propose? You don't? I guess time is relative, right? Is 4 years a lot for you or a little? To me, it would be a lifetime and I would have moved on already. If you know, you know. And if you've been together for 4 years, you must have shared to him already that one of your goals is to get married. And if that's not one of his goals, then you're wasting your time. If it's a money thing, like maybe he's saving up for like the best ring ever, or being able to feel like he can afford a home, or feeling like he can afford a baby. A lot of men, in my experience, compartmentalize a lot of feelings that they're constantly thinking of, but we would never know. And so after 4 years, if he doesn't know that marriage is important to you, it might be worth mentioning, hey, by the way, I would really like to get married. Or if you know him and the reason you're asking me is because you're already suspicious that maybe it's not something that's important to him, I'm not patient. You know, I know what I want in life. I know when I want to do it and I want to achieve it. And there are some things that I'm in a hurry for. There are other things that I'm willing to wait a lifetime for. And so you have to really have a very real conversation with yourself about marriage. Are you in a hurry to get married, or is it something that you just want to happen eventually? And so if it's something that has a timestamp on it or a timeline or a time frame, then you probably need to talk to him about it so that you don't feel like you're just a sitting duck. I would hate to feel like you're wasting your time. And I think when it comes to something that important, if you talk to your partner of 4 years, they should be receptive to it and be honest. Like, hey, well, I'm saving for a ring. Or maybe he's like, well, I just thought we could get married like in 6 years. And for you, obviously, I'm assuming that's not a reasonable timeline. So I wouldn't, but I also don't know how to do anything patiently. I'm so tired of all the IG influencers, parentheses, not you, promoting the same thing all at the same time. What do you mean? You don't want me to talk about Home Chef and Tula and what's the other one? Dime Beauty, and they're all posting the same day? Oh, you guys. I would be lying if I said I wasn't influenced by the power of flooding. When you see something over and over and over and over and over and over again, it does plant a seed in the back of your mind where you're like, I wonder if that is actually useful. I wonder if that's something that I would actually enjoy. And I used to have a rule when I accepted brand sponsorships where I wouldn't accept a campaign if it was based on flooding. And flooding is when all the influencers that were hired for the same campaign post at the same time. And I didn't like that because I don't think that it yields conversion. You know, I think what yields conversion is an organic integration. Like you've seen me talk about June Shine many times before in many different contexts, and it's something that we genuinely enjoy and use and purchase on our own. In fact, my family all lives in San Diego. The brewery, is it a brewery if they're making kombucha? Brewery is when you do anything with alcohol, right? Well, anyway, they're local in San Diego and they heard about it from me and now they love it and go visit it in person. And so I think organic integrations are very important for consumers to be able to build trust. But at the same time, it's a power of numbers. And so I think for the brands, they're like, okay, well, I'm going to lose a few followers here or there that are annoyed with the repetitiveness. But then you're going to have those that are influenced from this type of dynamic and get conversion. So the loss, the conversion outweighs the loss of subscribership or follows or whatever. You know what I mean? And yet, like I said, I would be lying if I said I wasn't influenced by those flooding campaigns. When my dad had a heart attack and my mom had to stay home and take care of him, I actually used an influencer that I follow's promo code to get Home Chef sent to their home so that they wouldn't have to worry about food and you know, making meals and stuff like that. So, I mean, sometimes it works, you know, sometimes it's convenient. But for me, I don't feel comfortable participating in flood campaigns. I do, however, like campaigns where they hire a bunch of people to do the same and then we can decide when to post it. So thank you for saying not me, but I think ultimately we're in control of how we get influenced. You know, we're not forced to purchase anything, so we get influenced by choice, and this is our job. So we get hired to promote products, and then you guys are in total and absolute control of whether or not you subscribe to it or not. But I could see how you could get like mental fatigue from seeing every single influencer in Dallas talk about Home Chef on the same exact day. It happens to me every month at the same exact time, and I follow a lot of influencers in Dallas. How to stop thinking about a guy who rejected you. He rejected you. I think my pride and my ego would be so bruised that the last thing I would want is to waste any more time wasted on him after he rejected me. You know what I mean? I would be offended. I'm like, listen, you didn't want me, so I'm not gonna rent any more free real estate in my brain on you because you suck. You know what I mean? Like, he had the power to let you go, so why are you holding on? You can't hold on to something that's not there, you know? So take your power back, take your mental storage back, take your emotional exhaustion back, keep it for yourself, and save that energy for someone that's gonna be chasing you instead of you chasing someone that doesn't want you. Like, you don't deserve that. That's like free rent. No one does anything for free anymore. Take back your mental and emotional real estate back, put it back on the market, and lease it to someone that is actually worth your time. not someone that let you go. No, ma'am, I can't support this. No, you girls, no. You're too smart, you're too beautiful, you're too powerful, you're too much on your own that you don't need to be supporting rejection. You know what I mean? Heck no. This one actually made me sad, and it kind of took me on like a flash from the past or flashback, or took me to a really sad time in my life. Feeling lost after divorce, can't seem to find my path in life. Does it ever get better? Yes, it absolutely 100% gets better, and it is so scary, and it's so lonely, and it's so frustrating, and you learn the ugliest parts of yourself. It's almost this time of rebirth that you didn't want. You didn't want this massive change in your life, you know? If we really got married to get divorced, would we really get married? And I think that's a concept that only divorced people can understand. You have your friends and your parents that have never broken up and have been married forever, and their life is sunshine and bubbles and it's perfect, and they don't understand why you couldn't work on it and why you couldn't make it work. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I guess I forgot the memo where I voluntarily got married to get divorced. Like, no one goes into this, I hope I get divorced. I hope divorce is the outcome. Nobody does. And so it's this forced, mandatory, drastic, traumatizing stage in your life where you have no idea who you are anymore, because the grocery list, the linens, the furniture that you bought, the paint colors that you chose, all had to be done with someone else. Your entire life, 50% reminds you of the other person. And so it is scary, it makes you nervous, you know, you're angry, you don't think life is fair, and it is a horrendously dark stage in your life that I promise you, you will come out of, and you will be 100% thankful for and love yourself even more. But it takes work. It doesn't just happen overnight. You don't just wake up one day and you're like, I'm glad I'm over that divorce. No, there are still some days where I'm like, am I over it? Do I still mildly hate you? A little bit, maybe. And so it's work. It is a job. It is a job to heal from divorce, but it is also an opportunity to relearn and re-love who you are. You're not committed to that person that you were when you got married. You can be a new you, and you don't owe anybody an explanation. So instead of seeing it as a disastrous moment in your life that you're being pushed into, it could be seen as an opportunity to relearn who you are, rediscover who you are, rebrand who you are, and just become a better version of the new you. And it took me probably a year to not be sad. And that was also when I felt ready to be social. And I didn't necessarily mean romantically. Like, yeah, I was open-minded to dating, but that wasn't like in the forefront of my mind. But I did want to be social. I did want to go out. I did want to engage, and I did want it to be casual. And I don't mean that kind of casual. I just mean casual. I wanted to see what I was like, you know, going out again. And it's not until you realize that you are not derivative of this other person anymore. The nail polish color you choose, the pants that you wear, the way you laugh, you know, the restaurant you get to go to, the groceries that you buy, until you realize that it's all on you. I think you can start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. There's a reason things didn't work out, and know this from me. I know that you didn't get into a marriage with the goal of getting divorced. And I know that we need to hear that from other people that don't criticize us for the choice we had to make. And so understanding that now we're in a position of starting over. We didn't get to decide to start all over, but we get to decide how we start all over. And so it's a privilege. I get to do this. I get to learn this. I get to go here. I get to wear this instead of I have to. And so I promise you that you will slowly start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. You will slowly start to see, you know, your flowers bloom and flourish. You will slowly see it, but it does not happen overnight, and it takes work and it takes effort. You can't just sit and wait for it to happen. It doesn't. That's not what happens. And I'm a firm believer that if a long-term relationship ended, both parties are at fault. Even if someone had anger issues and they cheated and they were abusive, like, both parties are at fault for a relationship failing. Every time. Every time. You can completely absolve yourself of like the physical blame, but if a relationship ends, both parties are at fault. So it's a really good time for you to be introspective and look within yourself, become self-aware, and maybe point out those things that you haven't liked about yourself. I can very candidly speak and say that I'm a control freak, that I have this constant desire to be right and to be in control, and I have this constant need and urge to be validated, and it's very hard for me to apologize, not because I'm proud, but because I didn't know how to apologize. And so when you take that opportunity of a relationship ending to look within yourself and be candid with yourself at what you didn't like, look at it as an opportunity to rebrand yourself. And I know that makes it sound shallow and maybe, I don't know, insignificant, but not a lot of people get that opportunity. And you're getting it. And it's okay to be sad and to have your hard days and your angry days and your why did this happen? This isn't fair. And, you know, sad days, woe is me days, but it does get better. I'm a living example that it does get better. Have a little faith in yourself. Remain hopeful, because every single day, every single minute, we are just one choice away from changing our life. And that day it was ending your marriage, but tomorrow it might be a really brand new, amazing, exciting opportunity to start a new job or meet someone new or move to a different city, you know? I don't know. Look at it as newfound freedom. It'll get better, I promise. Sometimes I feel I'm failing as a mom. Have you ever dealt with that? And any advice? Every single day of my entire life becoming a mom. So for the last almost 10 years. If you are worried about not doing a good job, you're doing a good job. It's one of those things where if you have the self-awareness to question whether or not you're a good mom, you're already a good mom, because you're worried about the quality of motherhood you're offering your kids. It is hard. Look at it this way. It is the most difficult job on the planet. You're on the clock 24 hours for the rest of your life for free, with no appreciation. It's the worst, unpaid, hardest job in the world. That's why God makes children so cute, so funny, and makes our heart grow so much bigger when we have kids, because it is so hard. It is hard. And I feel like a terrible mom every single day, whether it's at the end of the day, whether it's at lunchtime when I snapped, whether it's at dinner time when they about my meal, whether it's because they don't want to turn their shirt right side out, they want to wear it backwards, whether because, I don't know, I made them do chores. Like, I am constantly under scrutiny of how good of a mom I am, and I always feel like I could have done better, but all your kids are going to remember is if mom was happy. And if mom loved me. So if you're worried about being a good mom, being worried alone says you're a great mom. So try and give yourself some grace. I'm giving you the advice that I wish I would take. But Parker is witness to me crying myself to sleep, because I'm like, I should have been more patient. I should have loved him harder. I shouldn't have said that. Life is hard enough. Life is expensive enough. Life is brutal enough, for us to still be our own biggest critics and biggest bullies. You don't deserve that. So if you're worried about being a good mom, I can tell you right now, you're a good mom. You're worried about being a good mom, you're a good mom. We should put that on a bumper sticker. How to deal with political differences in a marriage. That's a tricky one because people can see politics as something very, very, very top of their list, or just something that happens, you know, throughout their life, like every 4 years. You know, it's not something, how important are politics to you? Because it sounds to me like maybe it's very important. I've had both sides of the coin experience. In my first marriage, we were opposing, and in my marriage now, we are similar, and neither of us were hardcore passionate about it where it would affect our relationship. So it sounds like maybe you need to find someone that is at your level of passion when it comes to it, because opposing views can still get along. Like, I have a lot of very close relationships that we are opposing political views, but our level of passion isn't the conflict. And so it sounds to me like the passion in terms or in regards to the subject is strong, which means it's high on your priority list. So that might have been something you should have thought of before getting married. That's not very good advice. I don't think it should be a deal breaker at all whatsoever, unless maybe one is involved in politics and the other one isn't. I think it's fair to get along with a person that has opposing political views. I think it's okay to get along with someone that's opposing religious views. I think it's okay to get along with almost anyone, unless there's someone that's harmful or hurtful or bigoted or racist, you know what I mean? But ultimately, unless you're both like righteously passionate about it, I don't see why it would be a big problem. I guess I could compare it to something else, like parenting. Like, I'm righteously passionate about parenting, and Parker and I have very different views on parenting, and that gets us into real big pickles. So I can't put myself in those shoes where I could understand why that would cause problems, because it's not super important to me. You know what I mean? Like, it becomes important to me maybe every 4 years, or with a buildup of what's going to happen with our country kind of thing. I wish I could be more helpful for that. If I were to do more of a generalized response to a question like this, I would say that in a marriage, water gets in the ship only if you let it. Does that make sense? So as two partners that decide they want to spend the rest of their lives together, only the things that we allow to get in the marriage get in the marriage. So we as partners are in control of what we allow to affect our marriage. I allow our parenting differences to affect our marriage. Parker has allowed other things to get into our marriage. And so we're in total control of what we allow to hurt our marriage, because we're steering the ship. You know what I mean? So maybe it's a conversation that you can have in a very candid light. Like, hey, listen, I don't like your political party, your political affiliation. I don't agree with it, but I love you, and I fully intend to uphold our marriage vows, and thank you for respecting my political views. Because if you don't agree with his political views, that means he doesn't agree with yours. And so unless one of you pulls the trigger, I don't see how that would be conflict, right? Maybe you're both really passionate and you break plates and stuff. Oh no, maybe I'm giving terrible advice. I honestly don't know. Like I said, I'm not a licensed professional, so I can't tell you. My mom wants to move in with me and my husband when my baby comes. How do I say no? Easy, no. Hey mom, I love you so much, and I am really excited to become a mom, and I promise you that I will ask you for help and I will count on you for advice, but I really want the opportunity to be able to try and do this on my own. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your love. And can I please count on you to love and support me through this new journey in life? But I really would love to try and do it on my own. I think this is a very special moment for me and John, and I want to be able to try and do it on my own. So thank you, but no thank you. That's your home. That is you and your husband's home, and when you moved out of your parents' home, you started your family. So your family now is your husband and your future baby, which I want to see, send me pictures, and your mom has no business there. And I know that sounds rude or whatever, but your responsibility is to learn you as a mom, and she has to be able to give you that opportunity to learn on your own. But I promise you that when that baby comes, you're gonna be calling your mama a whole lot. And you might even wanna have a few sleepovers. My mom was very supportive emotionally, but she wasn't the hands-on grandma where she would like do the feedings or the diaper changes or anything. I mean, I don't think she's ever changed one of my kids' diapers, but it was this weird switch almost, that the minute that I was holding my own baby, I felt this level of connection to my mom that I had never experienced before. Like it was one new role that I could connect with her through. And so it's a very good gift. It's a very exciting time, and it's super, super special and really important. But it is a very personal and private time for you and your husband to bond with that baby, and you need that space. So yeah, mom, hey, listen, I love you, I trust you, and I guarantee that I'm gonna be counting on you. And I hope I can count on you for your love and support, but I really wanna try and do this on my own with Bob or Gary or whatever. I think she'll understand. Unless she's like my mom and then she'll hate you forever, but she should understand. An anonymous confession: hubby hates when I watch the Housewives franchise. However, he secretly likes it. You know what? I think he hates that you watch it because you watch it without him. Parker's always talking crap about the first responder shows that I love, Law and Order and 911. And Chicago PD, Chicago Med is one of my favorites too. He's always talking crap, but he's there glued to the couch and the TV next to me while I watch. So listen, as long as they're nearby, who cares? Let them whine and complain. Our friend Kelly, and I'm totally shouting you out and putting you on blast because I don't think you want this to be anonymous. Our friend Kelly has been through so many huge life changes here with us on YouTube. She has shared her entire experience with us in the comments about, you know, the dissolving of a relationship and finding her own apartment and moving on. And she just said, I just want to say that right now I am the happiest I've been in years, and it feels amazing. That is what I would want each and every one of you guys to feel always. Everyone that's watching and that tunes in and is invested in this parasocial relationship that we have is I want you guys all to feel like Kelly, because we all deserve to feel amazing. We all deserve to feel happy and fulfilled and to be in a great place in life. And I think that God doesn't make mistakes, and his timing, albeit painful, is always perfect. So I'm so happy to hear that, and I'm so excited that you kept us in the loop every step of the way, because that's what a real friend does. You know, a real friend checks in, not just during the good times, but also in the bad. And Kelly has earned the good. She's been through the pits of hell, and you deserve to feel amazing and to be the happiest you've ever felt. So cheers to you, friend. My fiance has a toxic sister. Help. Don't we all have toxic people in our lives? I know what a toxic sister-in-law can feel like, but listen, you're not marrying her, you're marrying him. And I think the true test will be that if and when she ever says or does anything to you, he has your back. Because like I previously said, he's marrying you, you are now his family. They're second fiddle. And then when you have kids, they're third fiddle. You know what I mean? Actually, when you have dogs, they're gonna be fourth fiddle. So toxicity only gets to you if you let it, you know? You're gonna let her poison the well? Are you gonna let her poison her brother? You really gotta get a temperature gauge on whether or not he has your back or not. Is he cognizant of her toxicity? Is she actually toxic? I mean, there's a lot of follow-up questions, but most importantly, ultimately, what matters most is, does he have your back? If the answer is yes, then she can stay as toxic as she wants, because she'll blow herself up. You know what I mean? How to leave your children and go have fun without mom guilt. Easy. You close the door, you get in your car, and you drive away. Give yourself context. You do everything for them. You're their chef, you're their taxi, you're their tailor, you're their launderer, you're their, I don't know, bathroom attendant, you're their therapist, you're their friend, you're their disciplinarian, you're the jail warden. You deserve some time off. I'll tell you something that Parker said to me that he thought was gonna make me feel good, but actually made me feel terrible, but it's actually the truth. He goes, you do know we don't need you to do anything for us, right? You do know we don't need you to do our laundry for us, right? You do know we don't need you to cook for us, right? You do. And he went down this long list of all the stuff I do, and he's like, if you don't do it, we're still gonna love you. We're still gonna enjoy spending time with you. It'll get done eventually. And I was like, you mother... So you are self-sufficient. You guys can take care of yourselves. You just choose to let me do it. Okay. And that was it. That was it. That's when I signed up for Pilates. That's when I, left the house, and I was like, I'll be back later. Gonna go run some errands, keep my kids alive. You know what I mean? When you learn that you have the hardest job in the home, but that no matter what you do, you will be unappreciated or underappreciated, it's very easy to get away without feeling guilty. I promise you, no one's gonna die, no one's gonna starve, and the house won't burn down. I think we give ourselves a little too much credit, like I'm indispensable. No, you're not. They'll figure it out. And you deserve some fun. So go have it. And don't feel guilty. Guilt is the worst, man. Guilt is like a voluntary prison sentence that we give ourselves. It's like, I give myself this prison sentence on my own. Just for fun? It doesn't make sense. Don't feel guilty. Hating people asking when I'm having another child. It's none of their business. We grow up in this social dynamic of what we're allowed to say and what we're not allowed to say. And I think that if you find yourself in a position where someone feels safe enough to ask you that, you should feel safe enough to say, it's none of your business. With a straight face. Hey, listen, I'm not trying to be rude, but just like you felt comfortable enough asking me that, I feel comfortable enough telling you, it's none of your business. Sorry, not sorry. If they didn't respect you enough to respect social norms of what is polite and what is impolite, you shouldn't have to either. And this isn't an eye for an eye, the whole world goes blind BS. No, this is you're crossing my boundaries and I'm letting you know how I feel about that. Speak up for yourself. Heck, they don't know if you're struggling with infertility, if you don't want another kid, or if you simply are taking your time because your toddler is driving you bananas. You know what I mean? It's nobody's business what you do with your reproductive organs, America. ¿Cómo se dice mental load in español? She's asking how to say mental load in Spanish. I'm gonna talk in Spanish for a second, so just skip through a little bit if you don't want to hear me speak Spanish. But lamentablemente no sé cómo describirlo, pero si tuviera que explicárselo, por ejemplo, a mi mamá, lo que le diría sería, es carga mental. Por ejemplo, si te estoy preguntando yo a ti, ayúdame a lavar los trastes. Y me dices, ¿pero cómo? Es más difícil para mí pensar. Tienes que usar agua caliente, ponte los guantes, usa la esponja. Para los platos blancos tienes que usar la esponja del lado duro. Para los vasos y los plásticos tienes que usar el lado blandito. O sea, es una carga mental de todo lo que les tienes que explicar para poder completar algo. Por ejemplo, le estaba tratando yo de explicar a Parker el otro día lo difícil que es para mí planear las compras de la semana. Porque tengo que pensar, ok, necesitamos fruta. Los niños están aquí ahorita hasta el miércoles. Las niñas regresan el jueves. Tengo que empacar 4 lonches para Parker y tengo que hacer 5 lonches para los niños. Tengo que hacer esto y el otro. Entonces es una carga mental el hecho de planearlo todo antes de completar nada. O sea, has hecho un chorro de trabajo en tu mente y no has completado nada, no has encargado el mandado, no has ido a la tienda, no has hecho la lista porque apenas estás pensando, tengo que ir al mandado, tengo que planear esto, tengo que hacer estos lunches, tengo que hacer eso, le tengo que explicar a Parker. O sea, Es el trabajo antes del trabajo. Y ellos no entienden, por ejemplo, el baño, el champú y el jabón y las esponjas automáticamente siempre están llenos. La pasta de dientes nunca se termina. Pero ellos no piensan que nosotros estamos partiéndonos el lomo. Ok, necesito comprar el jabón, que no se me olvide esto, tengo que ir a la tintorería, tengo que hacer esto y lo otro. Tienes que pasar por una gran facultad mental de una lista infinita de cosas que tienes que completar o hacer. Y realmente no has hecho nada. Y ellos no pasan por ese estrés. Ellos piensan, oh, se le olvidaron los jitomates. Pasando del trabajo llego al mandado y compro los tomates. Pero cuando están en el mandado no piensan, cuando hice el café hoy en la mañana se me terminó la cremora. Cuando saqué la basura agarré la última bolsa de basura, tengo que comprar más. Ellos no piensan en ese como sobrenivel de qué es lo que hace falta. Entonces es una carga que nomás la persona que es como tipo gerente de la casa, que organiza todo, que pasa por todas esas etapas de qué es lo que se necesita, hacer la lista, pero va a venir fulanito, que mañana es la cena con mamá, que esto, que el otro. Ellos simplemente piensan, oh, se le terminaron los tomates, voy, compro los tomates, regreso y aquí están los tomates. Y dices, ay, pero se terminó la leche hoy en la mañana, ¿por qué no agarraste leche? Porque no me dijiste. Esa es la carga mental, lo que nosotros pasamos por dentro de nosotros que la gente no ve o que no piensa. En una pareja siempre hay una persona, siempre hay esa persona que tiene la carga mental y la persona que es como sencilla, que no piensa en esos otros factores que nosotros siempre llevamos. Es como una lista que nunca se termina. Entonces, no creo que haya una traducción literal, pero es fácil de explicar cuando le dices, oh, ayúdame a lavar la ropa. Ok, dime cómo. Es más difícil explicarte cómo que si yo lo hago. Esa es la carga mental. I love comments like these. Thanks for recommending the good candle. I bought the car tassels for my hubby in man cave and mine in Moroccan sunset. It's nice to hear your feedback on brands that I recommend. Like, that is super important to me, because as much as I love June Shine, if you guys weren't to tag me as much as you do on your stories or leave me comments about how you tried it and actually loved it, it would be something that I would reconsider including in my content again. But when you guys give me that feedback, it is super, super important. So I really appreciate it. Can you talk about preferential treatment with kids and bonus kids? I get accused about this a lot. I was of the firm believer of everyone the same, everyone treated the same, budget the same for everyone, treating everyone the same, rules the same for everyone, and it just caused us so much trouble, so many problems, that after so much trial and error, it boils down to what is going to keep you sane, what is going to give you peace of mind. People can accuse you of whatever they want, but for me, it boiled down to being very, very generous, being very thoughtful. I would go above and beyond, and it was never appreciated, it was never used, it was squirreled away, it was given away, I never got a thank you, and it was very, very hurtful and exhausting. And so I just had a very candid conversation with Parker, and I was like, listen, I can't do this anymore. I need to protect my boundaries, but I'm not gonna change who I am. I'm just going to protect myself. So I don't ever want to get accused of treating my kids better than your kids. I want it to be known why there is a difference and why there's a disparity. You know, I can't force people to be appreciative. I can't force people to be thankful. I can't force people to acknowledge all of the things that I do, but I can stop putting myself in front of a moving bus, you know? I can stop that, but you have to be explicit. You can't just do it. You have to say why. And I'm assuming that if you're doing preferential treatment, it's because you've experienced some of this yourself, whether it's feeling unappreciated, undervalued, or basically spit in the face because you go above and beyond and they don't appreciate anything you do. And so boundaries and self-protection are key in order to survive in a blended family situation, but you have to speak up for yourself. And when there's that disparity and you're being accused of something, you have to be able to explain why. Ultimately, I don't care if I get accused of preferential treatment because I can confidently say, hey, listen, I was fair, but A, B, C, and Z happened. Whatever it takes to protect your peace of mind and make sure that your partner supports you. It's not fair to be accused of something that isn't happening, but it's also not fair to be accused in the negative context of something that is happening. You know, I was told very early on, do not discipline my kids, do not have rules for my kids, do not have expectations for my kids, you know, stay in your lane. And I'm like, got it. It's a very unique dynamic, varying from household to household. Have a come to Jesus, self-reflective conversation with yourself where you're like, am I doing preferential treatment? Is it justified preferential treatment? Did I explain why it's preferential treatment? You know, it's tricky because there's so many ifs, ands, buts, what if, what happened before. I can probably say there probably is preferential treatment, but I think it's after a lot of effort of trying to be fair and not being appreciated. So you're like, okay, so I can invest all this time, effort, energy, love, and money 4 times, or I could just do it half of the time. And I know that these kids are gonna be like, thank you, I love you so much, this is the best, I'm gonna use it up and I'm gonna show it off and I'm gonna actually wear it and I'm gonna actually love it and, you know, I can't control half of the kids in this house, but I can control the 2 that are mine. I think you need to self-reflect. Are you doing preferential treatment? Is it justified, or are they being toxic? There's a lot of possible scenarios. I just wanted you to know that you inspired me to go to therapy. I love you so much. That is awesome. I'm so happy for you and I'm so proud of you. I think there is this common taboo in the Latino community where therapy is for crazy people, but there's also a taboo in general that therapy is for people that need it. And you have to have some sort of trauma, you have to have some life-altering event, you have to have some sort of mental condition or disorder. And you don't. Therapy is someone that is there to listen to you and to kind of guide you a little bit into having healthier thoughts, working on yourself, and achieving maximum greatness within your capabilities. Learning who you are better, nursing or tending to your inner child, and just being able to flourish with what tools you have and who you are. And I think it's beautiful. So I'm super happy for you. How did you build up the courage when applying to become a teacher? Advice, please. Are you kidding me? You don't need courage. Look at it this way. You're the boss of a whole classroom. And for me, I was the boss of 6 different periods. So I got to be the boss 6 times over every day. They have to do what you say. They have to follow the rules. They have to do the assignments you give them. They have to participate or you fail them. It's like having your own little kingdom. You don't need confidence, it's fun. But all joking aside, I looked at it as an opportunity. I looked at it as an opportunity to inspire. I looked at it as an opportunity to alter the minds of someone by adding knowledge that doesn't live there already, you know? So it's really a privilege, it's a gift, it's an opportunity. So I didn't need confidence, I was eager beaver from the jump. It's hard, it's exhausting, it emotionally beats you up, but it's 100% worth it. So I really hope you pursue this, I hope you achieve it, and I hope you understand that you don't need confidence. This is a gift that you are choosing, you know, and it's brilliant. I think it's amazing. And I think you should go full throttle and you should do it. And cheers to you becoming a teacher because it's a really, really great job. I loved it. I hate my sister-in-law and her snarky comments, but everyone else pretends to put up with her because they don't want to lose my brother-in-law. I don't know if I've just gotten to that point in my life where I don't care who comes and goes. If it makes me uncomfortable and it upsets me, I set them free, you know? If it hurts my feelings, if they cross my boundaries, I bury them. If they violate my feelings, my sense of security, or my comfort level, I move on. But I never close a door. I just give myself the gift to stay at peace, and if they want to come back, they know the rules. You know what I mean? Like, life is too short. Protect yourself. Be safe. Be comfortable. You shouldn't have to be walking on eggshells because some twat waffle is making your life miserable. Like, no one has that kind of power. You know who has that kind of power? Yourself. Yourself, to make yourself happy, to allow toxicity into your life or keep it out of your life. You're in control. And I'm sorry, I'm not gonna live in fear about losing someone. You don't ever lose someone that is yours. You know, you don't ever lose someone that is your true friend or your real family or someone that actually has the emotional capability and maturity to understand that that person's being an asshole. You know, you don't actually lose someone that's meant to be with you. I was 35 when I stopped living in fear about losing someone. My door is open and you can come and go as you please. Whether or not the door still exists when you decide to come back, that's up to me. But I was 35 when I was like, what's meant to be in my life, I'm not gonna lose. It's always gonna be there. Is Wesley secretly your favorite? They're all my favorite. All of my dogs are my favorite, and I'll tell you why. Ernie is my favorite because she had a really tough life and she is so willing to love despite being not being around love when she was a baby. And so it's always refreshing to meet someone that has had such a hard life and is still so willing to love. And man, that dog every day reminds me that you could have walked through the pits of hell and you can still not be an asshole. And she's amazing. So that's why she's my favorite. Wesley's my favorite because he teaches me every day about personal disposition and choice. He is super sick. His eye is having a really hard time recovering. He's diabetic. He has those issues with his adrenal glands and his pancreas, and he's very sick. And it doesn't feel good to be as sick as he is. Yet every day he chooses to wake up and be super happy and bouncy. And even on days he feels like crap and he's having a really bad diabetic day, he chooses to be happy and he chooses to be positive and always so resilient. And so it's like a slap in the face, you know, when you're having a day where you're and complaining about stuff and then your dog's over here like really sick and he's like, and you're like, oh, I'm such an asshole. Sophia makes me laugh every day because no matter what you say to her, no matter what you do, no matter how you try to train her, she is unabashedly her. She is sassy. She has an attitude problem. She yells at me, but she is unapologetically her. I am who I am and you can like it or not, but this is who I am. And she will not change. You cannot scare her. She is just tough and unabashedly herself. And I love that about her because how many of us get into our adulthood and we're like, I don't like this about myself. I don't like that I'm like this. I don't like, and we're just so hard on ourselves. And she's like, suck it. I love who I am. And Totopo's my favorite because he's my last little bit of San Diego. I got him when I was 21. He reminds me of home. He still lived at home with me and my parents, you know, when I was still at home. I love that he chooses violence every day, you know. He wakes up and it doesn't matter how little he is tough as nails and he will f you up, you know, say the wrong thing to him and he will bite you. Doesn't accomplish much, but he just reminds me of a time in my life that I'll never get back. You know, single me, fun me, teacher me, single Dani, clubbing Dani, for job having Dani. He just reminds me of a season in my life that I will never, ever have again. And just looking at him, I remember coming home like a little at like 2 or 3 in the morning and I'd just been dancing and he would look up at me all sleepy and he was so happy and he'd growl at me. So they're all my favorites. They're all so unique and so special and I just, like, Wesley's not my favorite, they're all my favorites. Dear Dani, can us moms get an uninterrupted shower or meal? No. No, that's a no, sorry. I saw a post the other day that said offering a mom an uninterrupted shower isn't self-care, it's hygiene, and that's not fair. You know, and I was like, louder for the people in the back. I'm so torn because I talk about mom exhaustion a lot and I complain about being a mom a lot and I talk about it a lot, and I don't want it to ever come off as me being ungrateful or unloving or I regret being a mom. No, it's the best, most rewarding job in the world. It's the biggest gift that we could have ever been given. Nothing in the world compares to it, but it is hard, and people need to talk about that. People need to talk about how hard it is, and people need to talk about how much of a personal violation it is that you can't even change your tampon in privacy without a kid barreling in or fingers underneath the door. You know, I shouldn't have to hide my Reese's peanut butter cups in my panty liner box because my kids eat all my food. But it is what it is. So we become resourceful. And listen, that's probably what makes us so awesome, is that having to go through this constant micro trauma every single day makes us as powerful and resilient as we are. So let's look at it as a compliment. But no, you don't ever get an uninterrupted shower or meal. Nope, sorry. Share your meal or shower with an audience or lock the door. That's also an option, but that always freaks me out that they might like cut themselves or run out the front door. But if the door's unlocked, then they're safe. I think at the end of the day, what gives me some sort of, I wouldn't even say comfort, I don't know what the right word is, but at the end of the day, what gives me some sort of semblance of feeling better in that moment when someone barrels into me naked when I'm getting dressed is that they're gonna turn 14 soon and they're not gonna want anything to do with me. I'm gonna be their worst enemy. I'm gonna be the worst. I'm gonna be annoying and embarrassing, and I'm gonna be sad because they're not gonna want anything to do with me. And right now, they still like hanging out with me. Then I feel mom guilt again because I'm like, well, they still think I'm cool. And that's not gonna last very long. Everything in life is fleeting. Every season in life is fleeting. Every chapter in your life, it feels like a microsecond once you see them graduate kindergarten and graduate elementary school and graduate high school and then go to college, and it's just all a blip in time and it happens so fast. So hold on to how fleeting life is, and you won't be that upset the next time you're eating a cold meal or you get walked in on when you're trying to get dressed and you're feeling the most vulnerable. Okay, I'm gonna answer this very last question and then we're gonna wrap it up. This is a lengthy one. My dad came to visit from Mexico. I've been living here for the past 7 years. It's been 3 years since I've seen him. It's hard not only because it's being hard to reconnect. We text all the time and we talk on the phone. Now I'm married and I want to dedicate time to my dad, but I don't want to make my husband feel left out. Also, my mom passed away 10 years ago, and it's been hard to have a good relationship with him since he's cold, and my mom's passing made him less talkative. It's been a tough weekend trying to juggle my role as a daughter and a wife, and also work. I know it's a lot what I wrote. Okay, so a few things. Latino dads generally are the pillar of the family, and they're not big talkers, and they're not going to talk about their feelings, and so you can't do anything about that. So don't worry about that part where he's just not so talkative. That's just how they are. That's how they were raised. That's how they were taught. That's how their dads were. That's what they grew up thinking they had to be. It's not correct, but that's just old school teaching. That's not a you problem, that's a him problem, but it's not personal. So that's not a big deal. What really stood out to me was that he's visiting and you want to make time for your dad, but you don't want your husband to feel left out. You have the rest of your life to spend time with your husband. And if your husband feels left out because you're spending time with your dad, that's a husband problem, not a dad problem. I think oftentimes we feel like we need to streamline all our relationships. You know, like, okay, now that I'm married to Parker, I have to hang out with his parents every time he hangs out with his parents. Or every time my parents visit, Parker has to take time off work so we're all together. Heck to the F, no, that is not a thing. Listen, you want to go visit your parents in Louisiana? You have my blessing. Go have fun. Enjoy your time there. The way I see it is, he is more comfortable with his parents when I'm not there than when I'm there and he's having to worry about me and if I'm having fun or if anyone was rude to me. And I would think your husband might feel the same way. I would think he would want to give you the space to be daddy's girl and to hang out with your dad and to kind of rekindle that relationship with your father, which was the first love of your life. You know, I always tease my boys. I'm like, hello, I'm your first girlfriend, just like my dad was my first boyfriend. And I know for some people that might sound gross and inappropriate, but that's not what it means. It just means the first masculine figure that I ever looked up to was my dad. And lo and behold, I married Parker, which is exactly like my dad. Personality-wise, character traits, the way he speaks to me and treats me, and the way he's in certain situations, the way he's handy with stuff. Think about it as you get to be you pre-husband when you're with your dad. And I think your partner or husband would respect that. When my parents come and visit, I tell Parker, don't take time off work. Let me be home with my little group, you know, with my crew, with my people, where we can speak Spanish and we can eat the conchas and pan dulce my mom brought. We can make chorizo for breakfast. And Parker fits in like a shoe. But there's still that feeling of like, this is my OG crew, you know, and I want to be with my people. And I want Parker to feel comfortable. I want my parents to feel comfortable. And so there's that you, me, and us, you, we, and us kind of dynamic where it's like me and my husband, me and my parents, all of us together. All three are very different dynamics and they're all okay. And I think your husband would understand that. And I think explaining it to him the way you explained it to me, where it's like, listen, my dad's always been kind of like the serious kind or the stoic kind. And since my mom died, he's been a lot more serious. And so this is such a good opportunity. I'm so excited to spend time with him. I never want you to feel out of place. I'm just really trying to work on something here. And your husband, I guarantee, would be like, go for it, mi amor. You know what I mean? If he feels left out, well, that's his problem and he needs to stop being such a baby. I don't think that would happen though. Parker is always super supportive. Like, my mom's coming in 2 weeks and he asked me, do you want me to take time off? And I was like, no, sir, I do not. And he's like, got it. So he's gonna go to work and me and my moms are gonna hang out all day and we're gonna have fun, probably just eat all day. But everyone is comfortable. And that's the beauty of families, different dynamics. There's a dynamic with your husband, there's a dynamic with your dad, and there's a dynamic of all of you guys together. And that's beautiful. And everyone has to be just as understanding. And I guarantee that if your dad is as serious and quiet as my dad is, he's gonna love all the extra attention. So I hope you will update us on his visit and how everything went. And I'm assuming how happy he's gonna be of spending so much time with you. Listen, at the end of the day, I don't care how serious our Mexican dads are, and I don't care how quiet they are and how non-emotional they are. We are daddy's little girl, and they're always gonna be there, and we're always gonna be their favorite. Just saying. Anyway, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this girl chat or Dear Dani. It is episode 6. If you want to hear more of these questions, anonymous rants, secret confessions, etc., there will be a playlist in the description box below, along with the June Shine promo. So if you guys want to try that variety pack, ship for free to your door, 20% off. There will be a link in the description box below. I really hope you guys will try it because it's almost 3 o'clock right now and I'm already 2 kombuchas in. But you know what? Guilt-free, because I'm drinking better for me alcohol. I love you guys so much, and you know what to do. If you found this video useful, entertaining, and learned something, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, this coffee break is over. Bye guys!